You're good, bro. You're good. You're earning some stripes.
So when I'm pointing in a direction, keep turning the wheel until I stop moving my hand in that direction, okay?
All right, so right now, myself, John from Northeast ORV, and a few guys from Overland Experts are at the trailhead for the VOT challenge section. And if you remember from last year's pilgrimage, this is the trail where John and Brett took their full-size Ford F-150 and F-350. We had to do some bridging with Max Tracks over a big rock hole. We had to do a very creative winch for Brett's truck. And last year, I didn't even attempt it because my truck just wasn't ready. This year, I got sliders, 33s, I'm lifted. And between John's knowledge and the guys from OEX, they are confident they can get me through the trails. So I've aired down my tires, and we're gonna go see what this truck is made of. Let's go for the ride. As we approach the start of this grueling Class 4 road, I'm hit with that perfect mix of excitement and the classic, what have I gotten myself into feeling. As I start to clear the trail's gatekeeper obstacle, bam, I find my first handicap. My rig only has an automatic rear locker, no manual front or rear. So fingers crossed I don't turn this trail into a slip and slide while my tires scramble for traction. During last year's pilgrimage, John and Brett tackled this trail heading downhill, which is definitely the recommended way to go, and for a good reason. The approach and departure angles are far more forgiving, and with no room to pass on this very tight Class 4 road, avoiding two-way traffic is a must. But this year, Steve from Overland Experts was craving a real challenge, so he led us uphill. Again, this isn't just any Class 4 road. It's the second hardest in Vermont. At just 0.9 of a mile, it might not sound intimidating, but don't be fooled. It still took John and Brett a grueling 5 hours to make it down the easy way. About 10 minutes in, we've already made it 900 feet up the trail, which isn't bad, but I can already tell it's about to get much harder. I've said this before, but the footage doesn't really do it justice. Some of these boulders are bigger than my tires, and none of the rocky steps you'll see are under 24 inches. As we push forward, you'll see the deep ruts and off-camber spots that could swallow a whole rig or flip you over if you don't take the perfect line. This trail isn't about having monster tires or a giant lift. Having a good approach and departure angle definitely help, but it's more about precision driving, knowing the limits of your rig and being able to control it through these very technical areas.
Unfortunately, there's no turning back now. And I don't even know how I've gotten this far up the trail.
When things get sketchy and you're not sure if you can keep full control of your vehicle or squeeze it through a tough obstacle, that's when trusting your spotter becomes absolutely crucial. You've got to follow their every direction, even when it goes against your natural instincts or feels completely off from behind the wheel. So, here we go. Let's see how long it takes us to conquer the VOT challenge section.
So this area right here is where last year Brett in the F-150, this is where he got stuck and we had to do a big winch job to get him out.
You just go. Just climb that rock with your tire then, and you'll hit slider.
Come back a little bit so you've got traction on your rears. All right, you're good.
Come driver. There you go. Nice. Keep it up. Good. Good.
Besides not having manual lockers, another thing working against me is not having a high clearance front or rear bumper. So I'll need to take slightly different lines and won't be able to cruise through certain sections as easily.
Go passenger a little bit. There you go. Now come driver. Climb that rock. No. Oh, he's got like a one spot spotter. It doesn't have any locks.
It should be doing
This
the same
way?
from the back. What do you have on for electronic controls?
This 4 low, which is an automatic lock, rear locker.
You've got an automatic rear locker, but you're also getting anti-slip.
Are you in like off-road mode or
Must be in
something?
some mode because your front wheels, when you get a slip on one side, you get an anti-lock. You get an anti-lock brake application that goes to the other side. It's good. I mean, it's moving your traction back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because when I'm in 4 low, it turns off traction control and it turns off stability track.
Something you got a nanny on somewhere. Yeah. Somebody's watching you in that cab.
During this part of the trail, after watching my wheels slip out a couple of times, Steve showed me a new technique to help make up for not having manual lockers. It's called BTM, or Brake-Throttle Modulation. Essentially, it's a 2-foot driving method. 1 foot on the brake, the other on the gas. You press the brake all the way down, bring your RPMs up to about 3,000 or 4,000, and then slowly release the brake until your tires start turning.
Again, that's where you can use that BTM.
Climb this rock.
This technique helps you gain extra traction, force, and torque, preventing wheel spin and giving you the push you need to bump over obstacles when necessary.
Hold that wheel there.
I was talking about that. Oh. Yeah. Well, John, you're a good spotter. I really want to be a better spotter.
Hold the wheel there.
Yeah.
There you go. Start coming driver again, up this wall like everybody else did.
Yeah.
Good.
John, you want us to move ahead before we bring them over that?
I don't even know what we're gonna be able to come up
Yeah, but I'm afraid if he tries, he bumps it all, he's going to hit.
Yeah, there's not much room there.
Let's go up and get everybody over to the next obstacle, and then you can pick up and bring you guys all up.
Well, I am almost clear of the area where Brett slid into and took damage last year. So, yeah. A little bit more, and hopefully I'll clear it. On the bright side, the big hole in the rocks from last year,
I was just looking at your rear diff.
I'll probably put the video overlaid right now, but that big hole, it's no longer there. It's filled in with a bunch of rocks, thankfully, so that should make things a little easier, but it's still going to be a challenge.
Now, I knew this was going to be difficult for my rig, but the rock climb was turning out to be a real challenge, especially going uphill. After trying a few different lines and techniques, Steve finally had to break out the winch to pull himself up and over. A few minutes later, the winch was back in action to navigate a tight, rocky section that had the Land Cruiser going severely off-camber. It was clear this trail wasn't going to let any of us off easy.
I wasn't quick enough on the draw for that one.
Once the first 3 trucks in our convoy made it through the big rock obstacle, it was my turn. But first, we had to get myself clear of the washout I was sitting in. As I mentioned earlier, not having a high clearance front or rear bumper was starting to cause some issues. The line we initially tried wasn't going to work. There was a large rock jutting out of the side of the trail that would end up wedging itself between the spokes of my driver's side wheel. It was one of those moments where we had to think quick and find a better line to keep things moving smoothly. After backing up a few inches and freeing my wheel, John and Steve took a moment to assess the terrain and figure out the best approach angle for my truck. Once we had a new line locked in, I was able to crawl out of the washout without any more issues.
Good. You're earning some stripes.
So when I'm pointing in a direction, keep turning the wheel till I stop moving my hand in that direction, okay?
Yep.
Bump, bump. Bump. Stop. Right there. Where's that other truck?
You see the ladder? Drive right up the ladder. Towards me. A little bit of skid plate there. You're climbing. So you're gonna wanna, if it'll carry it, you're gonna stay towards me until your back tire gets up, and then you're gonna turn passenger.
Is that angle okay with that? Or do you want to?
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna pull cable.
Yeah, cable's all ready.
You want to just hook them up here?
Yeah,
We're only gonna. It's only gonna be a headache to.
yeah, let's just hook it and pull it. It's fine. It is what it is.
Nice driving up here though.
We gave it one solid shot to get my truck up the rock climb, but my truck had reached its limits. And since every other rig in the group had already needed a winch, we figured it was smarter to just pull the line early. Why fight the inevitable, right? It was the perfect call to save time and energy while staying in control on this relentless trail. The only twist this time? I don't have my own winch yet, so we had to get creative. We used the Toyota in front of me, redirected the line, and threw in a few snatch blocks to make it work. Once we disconnected the winch line and started inching forward, it didn't take long to spot trouble. Because of the way my truck was winched up and the angle of the current line, it was headed straight for the same off-camera challenge Steve had faced earlier. To make matters worse, we hadn't noticed a rock perfectly positioned to snag my rear strut mount. For a moment, it looked like we might need the winch again, but luckily my truck's wheelbase worked in our favor. Instead of pulling line, we slowed things down, carefully repositioned. With some patience, a few crooks, and a set of max tracks, we built a solid ramp to guide my truck over the rocks.
Bump it like you mean it, he says.
Right there. Carry momentum and bump right over there.
Now it was the Jeep's turn to barrel through the obstacle, or so we thought. Once again, this uphill climb proved to be more challenging than it looked for every rig in our convoy. John was determined to get the Jeep up and over, though, without pulling the winch.
Keep going. Keep going.
And he gave it everything he had. But in the end, the winch had to come out to help clear those last stubborn inches of the climb. Sometimes the trail wins around, but teamwork and the right equipment always keeps the momentum going forward.
Just wrap it.
Once we were all clear of what was supposed to be the hardest obstacle, the trail began to smooth out, like a calm before the storm. But there was still some concern about getting my truck through the rest of the trail. Why? Well, while we were winching my truck over the rock climb, a group of jeepers headed downhill stopped to watch. After seeing my truck get pulled up and over the climb, they were in disbelief I had made it that far, and even more shocked that we were heading uphill. They warned us of a few more spots ahead that would likely get my truck hung up pretty bad, and that winches might be needed again for all of us. After watching the whole ordeal, they decided it wasn't worth it for them to try the rock climb themselves. So they decided to turn around and head back up. It was a solid reminder that every trail has its surprises, and not everyone is ready for what's ahead.
Right up. Okay. Good. Come drop. Right like that. Passenger. Passenger. Good. Passenger as you roll forward. Stop. Ahead. Straight forward. Drive out. Perfect. Thank you.
Well, we've made it through some of the roughest parts of the VOT challenge, and I never thought that my truck would be able to do it. I didn't film a lot of my truck going through because, well, my focus is, you know, actually getting through the trail and not taking any damage. But yeah, we thought we had gotten through the worst of it, but apparently there's one last little obstacle that has been severely washed out, and we have no choice. We got to get through it. So yeah, let's go take a look. I could not imagine off-roading with a manual.
Mirror in.
Jeremy, pull your mirror in.
Go driver. Yep. Driver. All right, come forward. Let it pull you that way. Good. Driver. Come on up. Fireman in the rear. Scoot back a little bit and give it a bump up.
After clearing the washed out section and a few other tricky spots, we finally felt like we were in the clear. There was going to be no more major obstacles ahead. The second half of the trail turned out to be smoother than I expected, especially for the second hardest Class 4 in Vermont. As we cruised toward the end, I couldn't help but wonder what those Jeepers had been talking about. Had they underestimated my rig? Or were they just speaking from their own struggles in areas where we didn't have issues? Either way, we were almost there, and with all 4 rigs still rolling strong and no major damage, it felt like a solid victory.
Guess what? We're airing back up. What does that mean? We're off the trail. We made it. My truck made it. Never thought that would happen, but you know, having the right people with you to spot, having the right equipment, having the right tools available to you, I can't thank John from Northeast ORV enough, and I can't thank Steve from Overland Experts. Between the two of them, their knowledge, their ability to spot me, their use of the tools and the gear that we have to just make everything work is the only reason why I made it out of that trail. It's the only reason why I made it out of that trail with very minimal damage. Again, a pink plus, it says high risk of body damage, and the VOT challenge section is technically a magenta. Body damage is likely. And let's do some assessment. A little scrape there. Some scrapes right there. Notice the fog light? No fog light. Well, it's there. Dangling. Whatever. A little scraped up right there. These Icon rims though, you know what? These Icon alloys are amazing. They took the weight of the vehicle against a rock. And they chipped, they're scraped up, they're damaged, but you know what? That's a testament to Icon alloys. Freaking amazing. Nothing else though, nothing else. Maybe a few new scrapes on the rock slider, but that's what it's there for, right? We made it. We fucking.
Well, that's going to be a wrap on this wild adventure. Thank you for sticking around to watch the whole video. Let me know in the comments how crazy you think I must be for taking my truck through this trail. Because honestly, I'm still wondering myself. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up so you don't miss out on the full 2024 pilgrimage video, which is coming out soon. Until next time, people, stay adventurous.